Okay, well, I think we're underway here. First off, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Thanks for putting down your pints for a wonderful WMBA event here. The leadership panel. We've got an incredible lineup today of some all-star executives, and we're so thrilled to welcome them to our event. We know it's virtual again this year, but next year we're looking forward to bring this back to in person. So without further ado, I wanted to take a moment here and give some quick introductions, and also acknowledge our wonderful WMBA team, including our programs chair, Tanya, for helping to put this together. The rest of my executive team, John Smith, our VP, Tony Fernandez, our treasurer, Janine Sprague's our secretary, and Lisa Goldsmith, our past president. So I want to thank you all for your continued commitment and helping to make this organization great. So today we've got some incredible, I guess, diverse and broad range of industry people that I think are going to create a really exciting conversation about the state of the industry, some specifics of their organization, what their thoughts are. Starting off, we've got Patty Arviello with New American Funding. Patty is the president and has been in the business probably more longer than I don't want to share because she might get mad at me. And so most importantly, she's a woman leader who's been around as a first generation Latina, also has a main focus of expanding diversity in markets, as well as her organization's focus with New American Dream. So all of these incredible initiatives really create a focus on home affordability, diversity. And so we're excited for her and her vision of the industry and her business to be a part of this panel. And we also have James Hetch. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but James is with Caliber. He's the executive VP, heads up all of retail lending for Caliber, another incredibly seasoned industry leader, 20 years experience, probably more. And with Caliber being as broad and scope of an industry leader, we're really excited for him to bring his perspective of the market. He also heads up production channels. He's been with fulfillment, credit, operations. So I think a lot of that's going to create a real well-rounded vision of what's ahead for us. And then lastly, Don Costa. Don's one of our local leader / legends with First Security. He's a senior VP and heads up all of their retail lending here. Been in the business a couple of years as well. So Don, we're so excited to have you as a big local person here in the Pacific Northwest. So we're excited to have him share his vision of the market, where things are going, and also a little bit more of the kind of impact to our local area. And then leading the panel is going to be the one and only Dave Savage. So I'm sure you guys have all heard his name. Dave, of course, is the CEO and founder of Mortgage Coach. You guys, if you don't already, make sure you go and follow him on all of his content channels, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. He's got incredible, meaningful content that all of you can put to use in your business. He does this day in and day out, so I'm not going to take up too much more time, and I'm going to pass it off to Dave because he's got some great questions and he's going to do an incredible job. So thank you all for being a part of this today. And we look forward to it. Any questions you may have, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll tackle them as we go. So without further ado, Dave Savage, everybody.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited about this panel. I think markets like this are built for leaders. And so I love the fact that I get to moderate a leadership panel. There's a lot of talk that technology companies and disruptors are going to put loan officers out of business or take business from loan officers. And I do not believe that. While the self-serve community of buyer, it is increasing. But one thing I believe with complete clarity is that loan officers who use technology, who use media, and who are great leaders are going to crush those who aren't. They're going to take their market share. And you're seeing that happen already, guys. So I think there's a lot of loan officers on this call. I track the number of teams, loan officers that do over 300 loans a year. And in 2020, it was unparalleled. It was like 3,700 and something loan officers did over 300 loans. Last year in 2021, it was not an up market. but loan officers that did over 300 loans increased by 78%. It went to like 6,500. So that tells me that leadership, using technology, using media, being a great leader is where it's at. So I want to put this in context. You have two leaders, at the top of the C-suite at two of the top 10 lenders in America. So I mean, this is a pretty rare opportunity to have that. And you have one of the top leaders for a regional bank, who's been doing this for a long time. So you've got leadership on this call. I encourage you to ask questions. I am ADD, real deal. So I will be looking at chat, whether you're giving me questions or not. And I prefer that you give me some questions and some just fastballs that we could throw at these managers. Don't be shy. Be nice, be kind, but don't be shy. Let's get candid. So let's start. I'm gonna start with some hard-hitting questions because the market is down. What is the, I want to get corporate strategy from these C-suite leaders in a market like the one we have today. I want to know, and I'm going to start with you, Patty. What is your corporate strategy to maintain or increase sales in this market? And what are some of the risks that you think some lenders are not considering?
Hi, everyone. So happy to be here today. And great question. So I will announce that I will be celebrating my 41st year in the mortgage industry in June. So I've been on this roller coaster and have never gotten off since I was 16 years old. So we're just on the upswing of a ride that we've had for a really long time. So somebody with my insight and the fact that I've never lived in an industry outside of this, I've been, anticipating this market for a long time. So we have a team at New American Funding that you really visualize and foresees the future. And so we've anticipated this and therefore have delivered tools into the marketplace, much like our BAP program, the Buyer's Advantage Purchase Program, where we pay cash for borrowers' homes up front and then do the financing on the back end. We anticipated this market. So really being a visionary is crucial. I think I'm a natural visionary because I'm a Latina and I'm always scared that I'm going to go out of business. So I'm always fearful for that up ride on the roller coaster. But I really feel like this is something that the ride was insane, right? It was insane in 2021. In my 41 years in my career, I've never seen it. I called it the unicorn years. I called it everyone be blessed and humbled. It's not you, it's the market type of mentality. But now it's where the skills really matter. And so we aligned with Dave Savage, which is a great thing for New American Funding, really utilizing the tools out in the marketplace, old school and new school. There's a lot of new school going on and tech companies and fintech and buying real estate in the metaverse to open a mortgage company. I mean, if you're not on that ride, being a visionary, I really feel like that's where my peers might be anticipating. Let's just sit it out. We'll wait for it to happen again. I think the next upswing, the next down, the next easy market is going to look really different than it did in 2021.
So my takeaway is it's go on the offense. We got to go on the offense. By the way, guys, that question I had asked some leaders that I respect came in from Kelly Zitlow, who is the new head of Elite Branch Networks for Keller Mortgage. So, Keller Mortgage is investing in talent. Typically real estate owned mortgage companies don't have the high-end mortgage people. And I thought it was a great question. And I love your answer, Patty, super smart. So Dawn, let's go to you next on that same question. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we were getting really, in a lot of ways back to basics, with the salespeople, being, one of two type of people. Either you're a relationship person and to continue to build those relationships and strengthen them, or you're the number salesperson where you're making so many calls a day. And if you're that person, you probably should expect a little more fallout that you've seen in the past and make a few more calls than you've done. But at the same time, we're going to continue to compete in the Fannie Freddie space, but being here in the state of Washington, it's a heavy jumbo space. And so, providing quality jumbo products within our portfolio, and to try to compete in areas where maybe others find it more difficult to compete, meaning, online lenders, find it difficult in general to compete in the jumbo market. They're just not really made for that. They're made to do a lot of loans and not have real smart people behind those loans, figuring out how to look at tax returns and work with self-employed people. So spending a lot of emphasis on that. And then I think the risk piece that I think about is before, when Fannie and Freddie were public and doing really, really well, my boss came to me and he said, Costa, what are you going to do if you lose Fannie and Freddie? And I looked at him like he had, three eyes, and I couldn't even grasp the question. I had no answer for him, but 3-4 years later, that basically came true with now the government owning them. And the question I asked myself is, what am I going to do when Fannie and Freddie loans become a commodity and you're able to get a loan approved in 3 minutes online? Fannie's currently working on a program with bank statements where instead of even having to use the work number for everyone, it's a bank statement validated loan for consistent deposits being made. And as simple as our technology is on the front side with a few switches flipped, we could technically approve loans within minutes. And then you think to yourself, well, how do you compete against those big national lenders who probably have stronger technology that can afford to lose $400 million a year like SoFi and price loans below what everybody can price at? And how do you compete in that in the long run? And what I really think about is creating and doing loan products that take real human beings and real smart people and working on that loan is what we're doing.
Well, thank you for that candor. And Kelsey, thank you for the first question so far. Remember, audience, this gets good when you guys throw us questions and we get engagement from y'all. So bring some of that. I also want to remind folks, while I think products are important, I think in a market like this, while you're a mortgage professional, you're not going to maybe close as many loans as you've closed in the past, but this is the market share market. Like, this is where the winners get market share. And this is where the winners upgrade their sales skills. The fish have been jumping into the boat for 2 years, and now you need to invest in sales skills. So James, I would love to hear your thoughts on, from a corporate strategy perspective, what are you guys doing in today's market to help your loan officers thrive?
You bet. Well, first of all, Patty and Don, great thoughts there as well. And as we think about this, Patty said it as well. Caliber, this is our market, right? The refis, and I love the term unicorn market. I mean, it was great. It is but the bottom line, this is who we're built for. Our team of originators out in the markets, working with referral partners, delivering for referral partners. This is what we're all about. And so as we think about our strategy, is I think Don opened up with, it's a little bit of back to basics. For us, it's back. This is our playbook. Our playbook is winning in the purchase market by delivering, but it's going to be different, right? And the great thing we all love about this mortgage business is that there is no same year as last year, and it's changing. And so as we think about coming out and in this market, there's a couple things that I would bring up. The first is, without a doubt, our originators, we have to continue to find a way to help them be more productive, right? We do know, everybody's seen the research, millennials who are now our prime home buying candidates out there, they're using realtors at a level that we have not seen in previous generations, right? Which means that they are doing their research online, but then they're looking for that important assistance and that guidance from those professionals in the market. And so what we look at is our originators now more than ever have to be able to have that time to be focused on their referral partners and delivering that guidance that these millennial buyers really desire to continue to grow that. So my job is I've got to make them more productive. I've got to be able to make sure that our systems are supporting that productivity and help them build their team structures, et cetera, so that they can be out and really serving those referral partners. So that's something, as we look ahead, I think we all agree, originators are going to do more loans per. I've got to make it easier for them to get done. I've got to make sure our back end aligns with a shorter escrow period that I think we all realize is going to happen. And that's one of the key things we're focused on. The other piece that I would step back is, we also recognize, Don said it with product, I would spin it a little bit, is we're looking at it kind of product two front. One is we all recognize the basic Fannie Freddie, product out there is instantly in the last 60 to 90 days has changed, where the demand for ARMs, the demand for additional jumbo flavors, the demand for a variety of mortgage products, and that is going to continue to evolve. And so as a lender, what we're really excited in strategy, a key piece of where we're headed, is we're now the only retail lender owned by a REIT, right? Which gives the ability to be able to do more in the non-agency market. And as we think forward, just look to the past, we all know, 20 years ago, the non-agency market was 2/3 of the market, right? Now, I think as you look forward in the changing face of Fannie Freddie, that's what it's going to look like. And we're setting up in that element. And then the final piece of strategy and product, Patty mentioned it with, the power buyer, right? Being able to help these buyers find a way to look more like a cash buyer. But what that really means is it's a shorter escrow period. And we've got to be there to help them find a way to get in front of the line on a tight inventory and then be able to have the product to close quickly. So kind of three things as we think about addressing this market that I think we all recognize this is what we're built for.
Love it. Well, one thing I heard for sure, we got an attitude. We got an attitude for growth. We got an attitude for leaning in. I don't think all managers are leaning in. One thing that I am advocating a lot, it's time to do sales meetings, like weekly sales meetings. And Dan Keller, regional manager with New America, just submitted a question saying, now this is how Dan asked it, but I'm going to tune it a little bit. He said, how are you leading your BMs, branch managers and loan officers, through changing markets, higher rates, margin compression, et cetera? I want to just talk BMs because I just think leaders leading leaders. And I'll start with you, Patty. What are you guys doing to lead your leaders and push them to, I don't know if it's weekly sales meetings, but what are you doing to lead branch managers and lead leaders in your organization? And I am going to go around and ask everybody that question.
Yeah, so 100% empowering the leaders underneath me with the vision, with the forward vision. So it's been communication for months and months now on anticipating what we already knew what was going to happen, higher rates, right? Different market. And on top of that, I don't think I've been in a market where we have higher rates and low inventory or no inventory. So I can't think back in my 40-year career that I've ever had this many obstacles. So we have, pipelines of pre-approved borrowers ready, all cash borrowers ready to buy, and there's nothing to buy. So really just in-person meeting. I mean, we flew all our leaders in 2 weeks ago, and we sat around the tables and really just talked about how we're going to level down, how we, New Americans, sees the market, may be different than everybody else, but we do see the self-serve educated borrowers starting their purchase journey with lenders before realtors. So what's that look like? And then also we're a little different in that we really run a prolific call center and a prolific distributed retail. And what we've been working on in the last 10 years is really mirroring and merging the two to work together in this instant market, instant information market. So really it's speed to the buyer, speed to the lead, speed to information, to gain the market share that is needed to stay relevant in the next few years. But really it's just education. This is a time right now, what does Rick say? The definition of insanity, right? Where you think you can just do the same thing over and over and expect the same results. We're in the opposite of that market right now. So it's really training and empowering our leaders to push down the information coming from corporate. I will tell you that Rick and I we're both very different leaders at NAF. And that's why we're such good partners in business and in marriage. Really, we don't do at all the same thing. So I do a video every week. Rick does a video. It's literally a minute of the vision of the company, where we're going this week. And everybody in the company gets the video. So really, so that everybody knows and we're marching in the same direction.
So I love that. So I want to make sure everybody caught that. So at the C-suite, we're doing kind of different. One is a visionary. And I know Patty, someone who was a, countrywide underwriter who's sat in every seat on the bus, is getting more tactical. And then would you agree with this? And then push the branch managers, do a 30-minute weekly, how do we win in this market meeting? So we got C-suite and we have BMs all doing that. Do you support
Yeah, I
that?
mean, we're sharing the vision. I mean, we're one company. So they're working at New American Funding because they trust our vision, right? Where we've come from, where we're going. You have to have your entire team marching in the same direction. So that's essential in communication. So yeah, meetings. And I know everybody's tired of Zoom meetings and Teams meetings. Everyone's burnout. Cameras need to be on right now. I don't care what women look like. Who cares? No guy cares that we don't have makeup on. Let's just put the computers on and communicate so that we are marching in the same direction, so that you have the high producing agents talking to the low producing agents. What are you doing? Why are you relevant? What's working? What's not? Because, fortunately and unfortunately, every single one of us in the last 2 years has brought in new talent into our companies. So we have millennials and sitting at our company that have thought that that's what it was always like loans just fall out of the sky. Now what? So it's really instrumental that we, get the fear factor of where we're going in this market. Purchase is king. It's always been king, even though I'm queen. So it's just really kind of just moving and communicating in the same direction.
So I want to make sure everybody heard that cameras on.
Cameras on, I don't care about makeup.
Yeah, I don't care. But here's my push to every manager on this. If you're having a meeting and you've set a standard that, hey, we need to connect, it's a digital shift era. We love to be in person, and when we can be, it's the best. But when we can't be, or Zoom is happening, cameras on. And if that is your standard and more than 10 to 20% of your cameras aren't on, that's your influence. You've got to have influence in this market. And so managers, 80% of cameras on. There's always going to be some people that they're driving or they can't have cameras on, but it should be less than 20% in your meetings. So James, let's come to you with that same question. What are you doing to lead and empower your BMs, branch managers?
Yeah, so let me first start. This is a brag for sure. We hands down have the best team of branch managers in Washington. I am so proud of this team. And I will also say, for those, I believe the branch manager role in any company is probably the most important in our industry, right? When you think about the leading of originators, and many of our branch managers, like other companies, are great originators themselves, right? So when you think about how challenging that role is to not only be a great originator, but then to lead, recruit, and build teams. So I have huge admiration for branch managers in our business, and I happen to think we have among the best. But with that said, what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do is they will get it done for me, right? The brand, if you think about the people that are in these roles, they know exactly what to say and how to lead it. What they need from me is information and access to everything that we're trying to do, from a strategic to a tactical. And so what I've tried to do is put regular videos out. I've learned to become a bomb expert, and you can read my notes or you can read the video, and it really is intended to give the details for our managers to then use in their regular one-on-ones or team meetings with their teams. And so, my approach is give full access to our leaders so that they have the information that they need to be able to communicate and lead their teams. But I will tell you some wonderful things have happened out of this, and I'll brag on one event. I think this is why, if you empower your great leaders, you power them and give them the information, it all gets done. And so what happened up in Washington 2 weeks ago on a Friday was an inaugural Women in Leadership event within Caliber, where we had some of our great women branch managers bring together a group of ladies for a couple of days and just brainstorm. How are you working on this? What are you doing on this? And sharing of ideas. And that's just one example of when you empower your branch managers and you give them the information, they will partner together and use their joint knowledge to win. And I couldn't be more proud. I could give you 10 examples of that, and how much I'm proud of this team and how our branch managers working together and driving down to their teams.
So my takeaway on that is you're turning on the video. You've become a bomb master, and for all you branch managers out there, hopefully he's leading by example. And you guys, you're doing in-person meetings when you can. You're creating bomb videos. If no one's watching them, you know, I would say, guys, that's your influence. You need to think about tweaking what you're saying and doing. And you're having meetings where the cameras are on, you're sending videos that are having some level of engagement. So Don, how do you answer that question?
Yeah, James and Patty hit a lot of them. I would just add that, you know, we're all out recruiting and that's great. But what we try to say to our managers is retention is even more important, and to focus on your people, to educate them, to make sure they know that we're behind them. Win, lose, or tie philosophy is there. We've had to step up a few times a little harder than we've had in the past to help some of our loan officers out with pricing or underwriting decisions and things like that. But we're just really convinced as if we can make sure that our managers and our administration team convince our salespeople that we're the greatest place to work, and we are really behind them, and we're making the right decisions, and we're doing all the things that we can to help them, that they will be able to go out and sell more comfortably and more aggressively than they have in the past. And I think the other thing that we're really doing is a statement of a return to work in person as much as you can. It's not a requirement, but we're asking our teams to start coming back 2 or 3 days a week. We kind of feel that face-to-face meetings in the office, it create a lot of really good synergy. And maybe if you're having a tough day or a difficult time structuring a loan, and you can walk to your neighbor's office next door without a mask, that's probably a good thing. So we're promoting that also.
Good. So getting back in person as much as we can. So guys, I have not seen a lot of questions come into chat. So I just want to make sure y'all know how to use chat. And I also want to know who's on this call. So if you're a loan officer, say, hey, I'm a loan officer, and where are you? Kind of curious, where is everybody? Use the city, because I know there's a lot of people in Washington. So what city are you in? And if you're a branch manager, I'm a branch manager in blank. I'm a C-suite executive in blank. I'm a loan officer in blank. Let's just make sure, first of all, y'all know how to use chat. And two, it'd be great to know who's on this call. So please, someone play the game. Thank you, Sean. Loan officer in Seattle, branch manager in Tacoma, BM in Kirkland, marketing specialist in Tacoma, branch manager, Caliber Seattle, representing. We got a sales exec in Fidelity Title. So hey, first of all, guys, thank you. Feel free to blow up that chat right now. We got an ops director in Seattle, our VP. So cool. It was great to see we have a lot of branch managers. We got an area manager. So cool. So I want to ask a question. I think like the rising interest rates, pivot to purchase, like these are the small problems. Like they're the market problems today. But guys, we live in the digital shift era. And I do believe if you're a local referral-based mortgage professional, there's also a mindset shift that needs to take place. Like I believe that the loan officer who's doing it right can be the single most valuable advisor to a family, more valuable than a CPA, more valuable than a financial planner, because we have more data. And because the mortgage is the biggest strategic financial planning decision most Americans, 90% of Americans ever make. So I talk about this phrase, like be the captain of the wealth team, like be more than a loan manufacturing loan officer, be someone that really helps a family build wealth with real estate, make smarter decisions. So I'm gonna start with you, Patty. Do you believe that this is the time for local referral-based loan officers to, be superheroes and really be the most valuable advisors to clients? Do you subscribe to that thinking?
Yeah, I say data tells all stories. So we've been monitoring data for years, but really focusing on the last 8 years as we feel that the self-serve borrower has just gained more traction. You can see it in data as well. But we have concrete data that says that in market loan officers convert 100 times better than any call center in America does, hands down. Everybody wants the local in-market knowledge. My kid goes to that school, or I know someone who went to that school, blah, blah. So 100% in-market loan agents are going to kill it. But they also have to have some sort of technology tie to the self-serve borrower. And what's that look like? I think it looks like very different in every organization, but that's where our channels work together. So it's it's really, as we start to even see now in what's going on just even the last couple of weeks with, lenders coming in with saying they're, going to accept Bitcoin. And I mean, we're just always in an evolving market. I do feel that the technology today is not a self-serve technology. I don't care if you're the biggest lender in the United States of America, you're not doing your own loan. I think we can all look at what happened with better.com. I mean, if you study the data and the amount of volume they did, they had 9,000 employees to do what type of volume? I mean, that hardly a digitized mortgage. So I think a lot of what we're reading is scaring loan officers to think that they're irrelevant, when I feel like they are the most relevant right now than any other channel in America is in-market loan officers.
And think about it, Patty, back in the day when we were doing handwritten apps, and now like literally the consumer fills out the app for you.
That's it though. That's it. They want all the rest of the information from an in-market agent who's going to validate what they put on the application. So I think we need to quit looking at media and, MPA and this is Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that. That is so far from what we're dealing with today. Empower your in-market agents. They are the kings and queens of this business. They convert better than any other agent. So empower them to win.
So Lisa Goldsmith just said, bravo, Patty. And I think we all feel the same way. So right on. So let's go to you, James, with that same question around, again, local distributed retail loan officers can become that captain of the wealth team, most valuable advisor. One, do you subscribe to that? And then two, put your own why around it. Like, I want to hear your why you believe
You
that.
bet. I didn't want to interrupt, but I was going to give a big amen to Patty's there. I think she said it right. And look, we feel the same way, but it's less about feeling. It's as Patty said, it's data, right? I mentioned it earlier in my conversation, is that the millennial generation, as an example, is using realtors, is using in-person loan officers. It's what we all know. So I would say it a little bit, maybe this is controversial or not, but look, Patty mentioned Better, that there's a perfect example of a company that's an embarrassment to our industry, right? That is an embarrassment of thinking that customers are going to be able to do it on their own, and then staffing it, and then treating their employees terribly, right? Those are the types of things that are really frustrating. But with that aside, I think if we all step back and recognize where this is going to go, a little bit of a pause in COVID, but I do think we took some stretches forward with COVID, with leveraging some technology. But this is a high tech and a high touch market, right? And what that means, Patty said it, and I agree 100%, is that the consumer, they want all the bells and whistles to make it easier for them to get the paperwork, the qualification. They want all that good stuff, but they want our great trusted advisors in that market to be able to guide them through a super challenging environment. And I would argue, everyone says it's such a cliche to say, oh, this is such a complicated transaction, you only do it a few times in your life. People are doing it more, and it's still complicated, and it's getting more complicated because you have to put 7-8 offers in to get an accepted contract, and navigating that, and then the challenges of what do you do once you get it, and property. I mean, there's so much that our team can add. So I am a high tech powering our loan officers who are high touch, and that is exactly the recipe for this market. And I am telling you, when you can look at it by millennials, you can look at it by diverse segments of the population. The model that we run and have built is exactly the right way to win. And I couldn't be more prouder to lead such a phenomenal team doing that up in the state of Washington.
Right on, right on. So Louis, thanks for your question. Patty, I'm going to go to that question with Dawn first, but I want to just prep you the question around Hispanic clients prefer in person. So be ready. So Dawn, let's go to the question at hand in terms of just, local referral base could be the superheroes. Do you agree? And what's your why?
Yeah, I more than agree. I think the Better Mortgages of the world and they're having a tough time, right? You can see it in the stock market, you can see it in their volumes, you can see it in their losses, and the local lenders or people that have in-market loan officers in a purchase market is where you want to be. That's the playbook for today. And I would even go as far as to say is that when offers are being reviewed by the different real estate, realtors and buyers, they're looking at what company and what loan officer pre-approving their borrower. And a lot of times they'll say, when you see some of the big, direct lenders and some other maybe really big bank names, is that they just don't want to even deal with them, and they'll accept an offer from a quality mortgage person in the market or a company that's very much involved in the market. And our loan officers, part of the process of making an offer will actually reach out to the seller and the listing agent to sell their borrower, and you're just not going to get that from the online guys. So yeah, being in market, direct sales, having your product, and supported by the technology is the place to be in a purchase market for sure.
So everybody, I want you to write down an acronym: WACD. WACD. What does that mean? So I first heard that acronym. I interviewed Scott Brown, who is the former futurist for Intel. He's got a great book, which I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but I interviewed him and I asked him the question, hey, what should my tribe is local referral-based loan officers and lenders that support them. What should they do? And he's like, WACD. And he goes, when I consulted a bunch of specialty retailers a couple of years ago, this was the gig. And here's the deal, guys. Specialty retailers that have WACD'd their business are killing it. Those that don't are either out of business or their market share has gone down, and WACD stands for what Amazon can't do. And that's what Amazon can't do. Now I say we're in lending, so we need to put a Z in it. WAZCD, your business. And then here's the deal for all you local professionals out there. You need to do what they can't do, and you need to do what they can do. And so I would just call out like Nordstrom's. If you've ever shopped at Nordstrom's, they're local. The people there are cool. They're smart. They know what they're doing. And if they don't have what you want in stock, anybody in that store can go, oh, I got that in back. Oh, that's 2.3 miles away. Do you want to go there, or do you want me to click a button and have it shipped to you? So like they're doing what Amazon can't do. And then of course, they're doing what they can't do and can do. So just make note of that, guys. If you're on this call, which I think just about everybody fits into that camp, think about your mortgage practice. Think about how you support families. Think about how you use the tech you have or don't use the tech that you have. If you want to thrive in this market, you need to use your tech. You need to do it Amazon mortgage. Again, there's no Amazon mortgage today, but I personally believe it's not a question of if, it's just how and when they will be a player in the market. So Patty, first of all, if you want to comment on that, feel free, but there's a question that's in your wheelhouse where someone said Hispanic clients prefer in-person meetings. So I don't know how do you agree with that?
No, 100%, 100%. That any transaction a Latino does in this country is based on the one fundamental, and that is called trust. And so in order to feel trust, you got to be in person. It's okay on virtual, but it's not going to happen. So yeah, I moved to Las Vegas a year ago. So I work out of a Las Vegas office, which is primarily serving Latinos in Las Vegas. And the only people who come in are Latino clients with their paperwork in hand to meet face-to-face with their trusted advisor. Now, their kids are starting the journey online and doing some research for whomever in the family's buying, but they're still 100% trusted advisor searching. And most of the time they get referred by somebody else they trust to the loan officer in market that they're going to use. And they don't even shop them. They trust them that much.
No doubt. And Lowe's said Vegas, baby. So he relates to that. So one thing I have heard from a lot of mortgage coaches, because we have a Spanish version of mortgage coach. So we believe in let people read their options and their strategies however they want. And what I've heard in a number of interviews is that hands down, they want to come in and they want to see it. But often they'll come in with their kids, and the kids are downloading the app. And so like they'll be within a family member One, and we can track with Mortgage Coach, like how many people click on the link. And when it comes to the Latino community, we're finding a lot more clicks, because there's a lot more family members involved in the decision. And some of them are savvy, they're downloading apps and they like it. And some of them will drive 45 minutes to get a piece of paper, and guys, that's a perfect example of WACD, your business, where you have a segmentation that loves in person, requires in person, but also members of the family want digital. So just, I think about that in every client. Okay. Anybody want to comment on what's been said or ask each other a question before I ask another question? All right.
Well, I can answer Sarah's because I think as a women leader, I always say women lead differently. I lead very much 100% with my heart and emotions. So she's asking me about my social media, which I recently have been working on for the last 6 months with a pretty famous influencer that told me when she met me that your social media sucks and that you're so much better than you appear on social media. Like, I throw advice bombs out like anything. Like, you want marriage advice? I got it. Diet, mortgage, whatever. So yeah, I was very, very insecure because of the mortgage industry to be judged on who I am, because I'm constantly judged on what value I have brought to the industry. And like, I don't really care anymore. I did when I was younger, because I think I am so different to have grown a company as big as we've grown and organically and without any, help really outside of just Rick and I doing it together. So I am a unicorn, I guess. So I'm kind of championing that and letting everybody know that I too still feel insecure, and I still too feel like being judged. Even when recruiters call my branch managers, and trust me, everyone, all of you tell us what you're saying. I mean, a lot of people go to battle. I get my feelings really hurt and then I go to battle. So I'm just different. Women leaders are different, but yeah, it took a lot for me to put myself out there, but I seem to be getting really good engagement, which is important. And authentically, I need to own the fact that this is why people work for me and are led by me. It's because I'm an authentic leader. So there you go.
Hey, Sarah, first of all, that is a really thoughtful question. When I first started creating the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, and I decided as CEO of Mortgage Coach, part of my job was getting on stage. It was coming out of the meltdown. We came out of the meltdown, and I found out in a very humbling way how many people use Mortgage Coach. Because if they weren't using Mortgage Coach, they didn't stay in the business, I didn't get paid. And I decided that, I'm going to do the single best sales meeting in the industry every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Again, there was no Zoom back in the day. It was like GoToMeeting, which sucks compared to today. But get on stages. So Sarah, get on stages. Managers and leaders, get on stages. And guys, it's the digital shift era. That means in person at events, and that means on social media, on YouTube. Get out there, and you'll be better, and your teams will be better. So someone wanted me to repeat the WACD thing. I'm just going to put a visual on the screen. Take a picture, because I have this in most of my notes nowadays, guys. I always go, hey, write this down. And then guys, we're in housing and real estate. It's WACD. And just reminder, guys, you need to do what they can't do, and you need to do what they can do. So James, I'm going to come to you, and audience, I would love to close out with questions from you, but I got a question came in from Matt Clark, the COO of Churchill. And since we have so many originators on this call, I think this is a good question to go around with everyone on. What is, again, in this market, like the market today, what's the difference between your production teams that are busier than ever today? And let's face it, we got them. And the ones whose business is 40 to 50% off. Like, Matt wants to know that from your perspective. So if all three of you could tell Matt, one of your peers in the C-suite over at Churchill wants to know what's the difference in today's market?
It's a little bit of a trick question, right? Because number one, those who hunkered and only did refis for the last couple of years, we don't have too many of those at our company, but there are out there, and they made a great living, but now they're having to wake up and realize you can't just go back and turn on those relationships. So that's a sort of a tongue-in-cheek answer. But I think the reality, Dave, is when you think of the difference between, and it's really in any market, right? What's the difference between a top team, top originator, top PM? It's the willingness to roll up their sleeves, make that extra call, get in front of that partner in person, Zoom, use tools such as yours. It's just doing what others aren't really interested or willing to do. If you put in the time and you put in the hard work, you're going to see the results, making that extra call. And so when I've been doing this a long time, and when you talk to the top performers and you talk to mediocre or those that are on their way up, yes, look, your top performers, there's a talent there for sure, but they're also in that spot because they put in the hard work. And so, it's about as boring or basic as an answer as you want to hear, but it really is those who do what others don't want to do. It's discipline.
Yeah, no doubt. So Don, how would you answer that question?
Yeah, it is a trick question because, really busy. Our loan officers are really busy. One was telling me he has 41 pre-approved borrowers he's been managing for months, trying to find a home. And take this with a loan officer statement. And one last night was saying to me, she has 300 pre-approved borrowers she's managing to try to get homes. And that's a lot of work because you've got to stay in touch with those people, right? You can't just let them pre-approve them and hope they call you when they find a house. You better stay in touch with them because they'll run if you don't. So they're really, really busy. And yet their production is down compared to overall last year, just because of the lack of inventory. Those who are seeing probably the best closings this year and are hardly off at all are those that have access to new construction, or they're in an area where there's a lot of new construction. And that's what we're seeing, where they're busy, but they're also closing, a lot of loans even in today's market.
Thank you, Don. Patty, how would you answer that question?
That same thing. It's like an old-fashioned question, right? When the market shifts, why are certain loan officers doing better than others? At our company, we did recruit and train. We have a mortgage school that we own, so we've trained a lot of newbies. But then again, it's just really knowing personally, it's the drive from within. You can't teach that. We have a saying that we'd rather have will over skill, because you can teach skill, but you can't teach will. So as leaders, we have to identify them and then really let them know where they're falling short. If they're wondering why they're not in the purchase business today, when they haven't even looked at a purchase in the last 2 years. So it's really empowering the sales leadership team. We started a mentorship program at NAF where high producing loan officers mentored lower producing loan officers. And it's pretty much a capacity every single time we roll it out. So you can see the will definitely in your organization. You can. And listen, we're in a market where we're going to lose some people to other industries. Some companies are not going to make it. I mean, this is a pretty traditional wave in mortgage lending. We're going to see some companies not be around or starting to put up the flag that they want to be bought and, get out now that they had a couple of great years. So really making sure you're aligned with platforms like the ones that are represented here today. They're in it for the long term, and we're in it to be it, to stay it. I mean, we're actually looking to gain more market share this year than we've ever had in the history of our company. So if you don't have those goals at the company you're at, you're not being driven in the right direction.
I love you said a couple of really cool phrases there. I liked how you talked about, data always, tells the story, and will over skill. I use the phrase a lot, character over skill. When I hire, I'm looking for character. And I would throw out there to everyone, this is the time to actually work on character and will within your team, try to elevate that. I do think leaders can grow that. Now, again, you can't necessarily create work ethic, people that comes from within. I do want to close out, guys. We got 9 minutes and I want to get some just tactics for the audience. So Robin Lavasser, amazing woman leader. She's the EVP, producing EVP of Summit Funding. She wanted to hear from each of you, what are the top 3 activities she said the top 3 activities they do daily to create more value for loan officers. So let's summarize. I just want to 3 bullet points from each of you, very tactically, so that leaders on this can come out of it. And I'll go with you last, Patty. I'm going to start with you, Don, on this one. So what are three things that leaders can do to help their loan officers in today's market?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it's education, making sure that they can understand how to structure loans and put them together in the more challenging market of the jumbo market in places like that.
So
Spending-
I want to make sure.
Education.
So loan structuring, scenario planning, training, education.
And then listening and creating new product that helps our borrowers be able to buy in a market like this. You know, not everybody's set up to pay cash for a home. So how do you work around that? What kind of products can we bring to market that are maybe a little bit different than everybody else? So it fits right into your WACD. So product, I spend a lot of time on product.
Real quick, I'm seeing more interest only, like 7-year, 10-year interest only arms. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, you know, we haven't rolled out our interest only internally in our portfolio, but it's something that we've talked about and it's there. But really stuff like bridge loans, custom construction loans. We have a lot of technology here. So RSUs, where someone's, you know, just hired and they don't have the history of RSUs, but they're making a tremendous amount of money, and it's focusing, you know, doctors who recently go on 1099s, spending a lot of time on putting product together internally that we can underwrite and close in a timely manner. And then I think it's just making sure that they know that we're behind them, win, lose, or tie, and to be able to call the people that they need to be able to call to make the decisions that have to get made, because they need quick answers. You know, everybody's working really fast, and last thing I want to do is delay them for 2 days on an underwriting question or something like that.
So product training, product innovation, and leadership excellence.
Quick responses.
Availability. All right, James, how would you answer that? 3.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with, I think probably the most, I mean, without these two things, I mean, they don't need me, and that is listening and encouragement, right? So with my field, and there isn't a day that goes by where I don't hear from some of our top originators, top managers on Zooms or in person. I'm traveling all the time, and why I do that is I want to hear what they're struggling with. I want to hear their ideas. I want to hear what they see can help us win and grow and get better. And on the same token, I want to encourage them. I want to be able to be there and be that ear to keep everybody moving. And so when I think of the most important thing, it's listening and encouragement. That's the best part of my job. The second going down is, I think, you know, information on the market, information on competitors, right? It's real easy. I mean, you know, any sales position, it's real easy to get down, right? You know, there's the market. I mean, especially in what we're sitting here today, and you've got to bring the facts, right? And be able to show, look, hey, you know what? This is a strange market. Yeah, it's competitive. Yes, it's different than 21, but it's going to be one of the top 5 or 6 purchase markets in the history of the industry, right? And point out those facts on how we're performing to the market, how they're performing to the market, so people feel good and get reignited. So using data and facts to drive the first. And then finally, you know, the most important is I need to be able to drive the organization to move fast, to react, right? Think of all the things that have come up on this call, whether it's, you know, the product stuff, whether the power buyers, whether the, you know, tight inventory. I mean, these are some real issues that our teams face. And, you know, I've got to be able to listen, understand it, and come back with fast solutions. Those are the 3 things as I think about it.
Thank you. Patty, how would you answer that?
I'm in a little different position, is that I don't manage the day-to-day for the sales leaders. I have Tony Blodgett, the amazing Tony Blodgett out of Washington, and many sales leaders in the company. But as a business leader and the owner of New American Funding, you know, like I said, we've been anticipating this market for a while now. So we rolled out a program called Buyer's Advantage Program, where our loan officers are able to offer their borrowers 100% cash purchase, and then we do the financing post-close. So I really feel like that's a phenomenal tool. I also recently purchased and partnered with Evan Stone on Champions Funding. So it's a CDFI. So we're doing all types of non-QM product. I think non-QM is going to really drive this market. this year. So I think availability to different products is expansion. So I bought a company that expanded into CDFI. I also recently acquired a bank out of Ohio. So I'll be the largest women-owned, hopefully minority-owned bank in the country. Again, getting it CDFI approved so that we can then further push our mission to serve the underserved with alternative products that that will increase homeownership in both Latino and the Black communities. So that's what the three things I'm working on, and on a daily basis is really expanding those products. All of them are doing really, really well.
Well, one theme, two themes, leadership, leadership excellence, communication, and for all you loan officers, you got realtors out there. They need, like, what you want from your team, they want from you. Communication, turn on the camera, product innovation. I think this has been an incredible panel. First of all, thank you to all three of you for what you do to our industry. You guys are all, what I call industry change agents that are leading. Make sure, for anyone listening to this, follow them on social media. Patty is a social media rock star. I get inspired, like you share things that inspire me. So not saying you two guys don't, but follow all these people on social media, follow them on LinkedIn. If you get nothing else from the hour that we had, I hope it's a time for leadership, because leadership creates market share, and this is a market share market. So I'm going to hand it back to the leaders of this call and let you guys take over. And thank you, everybody, anyone that tuned in. We appreciate your attention. I could tell we kept the audience, and for anyone who asked a question, thank you for the engagement. We're grateful to you.
Thank you, Dave.
This was great. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate everybody's time today. An incredible panel, as always, with our WMBA. Tanya, thanks for helping to get these folks together. Patty, James, Don, Dave, you guys rock. Everybody take what you learned today, put it to work, and let's have another great year together.
Thanks,
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.